All right, good afternoon. My name is Terry Gray. I'm the Deputy Director of DEM for Environmental Protection. I know a lot of you folks, we've worked a lot together. There are some new faces in the Commission. Certainly welcome to DEM. This is our headquarters building here, and we are certainly happy to host all of you for this meeting and for any other meetings if it works out that way. In terms of DEM, I just wanted to touch on one thing really quickly for those of you that are not familiar with our agency. Our mission really has two parts. One is to protect the environment, and the other part is to facilitate the enjoyment of the environment. So things like beaches, parks, fish and wildlife functions. It really is designed to get people out and really enjoy Rhode Island's environment and coastline. And what we're finding more and more are that plastics are starting to interfere with both aspects of that mission. Right, they're creating an increased number of increased amount of pollution in the state, as well as interfering with people's enjoyment of the outdoors. We're really excited to be a main part of this. We'll be hopefully staffing, providing support throughout this commission effort, and we're really psyched to take Governor Raimondo's executive order and run with it. We have the opportunity to make Rhode Island a leader and innovator in solving this problem. It's an international problem, but it's got to start somewhere. And why not here? We're in a perfect position to do that, to really come up with an innovative solution that could be scaled up as big as appropriate. So a couple of things. Jamie Rhodes is going to follow me a little bit and talk a little bit more detail about the issues with plastics. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about the harmful side a little bit. Like Jonathan said when he introduced himself, the Ocean Conservancy and locally Save the Bay do international coastal cleanups every year. And some of the things that are documented through those cleanups all over the world are cigarette butts, plastic lids, plastic bottles, plastic bags, food wrappers, cups, plates, utensils, straws, and stirrers are all single-use plastics that end up in the water. And they end up in the water, they break down in the water. Some of them end up being water pollution. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. And a lot of them end up on our beaches and shorelines. It's an accelerating problem as well. There's more plastic that is being produced right now in the last decade than were ever produced in the history of the world before that. So more and more things, you see this every time you go to the store. More and more things are being produced out of plastic and they're designed for single use. It's a disposable society, and it's going to be a real challenge to kind of reverse that trend, or at least mitigate it a little bit. Statistics show that 8 million tons of plastic are dumped into the ocean every year. That's a garbage truck full of plastic every minute, which is kind of crazy. And 80% of that comes from land-based sources. A lot of it is from Asia. A lot of it is from developing countries, but a lot of it is from the developed world as well, like North America and Europe. It's not only a third world problem. And virtually every piece of plastic ever made still exists in some form. A lot of it is in landfills, but a lot of it is in the ocean in smaller and smaller pieces. It takes about 500 to 1,000 years for a piece of plastic to degrade in the environment. Now, recycling is not really the solution. We talked a little bit about this, reusing things, but we only recover and reuse about 5% of the plastics that are generated right now. Single-use plastics like straws, bottles, and packaging don't even make it to the landfill or the recycling bins a lot of times. These are the things that end up on our roadsides, in our rivers, and on our coast. And 50% of the plastics used is used only once and thrown away. Now, what started this dialogue? This is kind of my purpose. Is why are we here? We've had this issue out there for a long time, but it really never gelled in terms of how can we come up with a solution. And one of the really amazing events that Rhode Island has an opportunity to host is the Volvo Ocean Race. And in 2018, Rhode Island served as the only North American stop for this host, and we hosted it down at Fort Adams in Newport, a beautiful state park. And the Volvo Ocean Sustainability team put together this mission that they really wanted to internationally promote the concept of turning the tides on plastics. And they really pushed for each one of the stops, the hosts, to really do something, make a difference, try and start the effort going in these different international locations. Dave McLaughlin from Clean Ocean Access, as well as folks from 11th Hour Racing and Sail Newport, were the sustainability team for the Newport host. And they approached us and said, all right, what can Rhode Island do? What can Rhode Island do as a host community to really turn the tide on plastics here? So one of the things Governor Raimondo did was she was the first governor and we were the first state to take the Clean Seas Pledge. And I would encourage you to look at this. This is an opportunity where you can do something as an organization, a government organization, a business, or even an individual to step up and sign up for a pledge to start moving the needle on plastics. We also hosted the Ocean Summit in Rhode Island, which was a very popular and really informative gathering of experts that really talked about this issue from an international perspective. And the neat thing is, this effort was then recognized by EPA Region 1 through an Environmental Merit Award as one of the really innovative and creative ways to start the dialogue going at a state level on the plastics issue. At the summit, Rhode Island announced something called the Zero Plastics Marina Initiative. DEM, along with the Rhode Island Marine Trades Organization, developed an approach where we would work with marinas across the state who are on the front lines of this issue to really educate the public by leading by example and showing things that they can do to eliminate plastics in their operations. There's 10 different things that the marinas can volunteer to do to take this Zero Plastics Marina Initiative and make it a reality. And all of them really look at education, prevention, pollution prevention, and reduction in their particular businesses. And we can present this in a little bit more detail later because there's a really an opportunity to build off this foundational block and do some more things in Rhode Island. So this is obviously not something that's new. This issue has been around for a while, and we have some really strong building blocks that we can build off of. One of the biggest building blocks that we have is our recycling program, led by Joe Raposa and Rhode Island Resource Recovery. Joe, wave. There you go. All right. Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation and all of our municipalities have a very robust recycling network that's out there. And we want to use that as a building block to really solve this problem. The state has also looked at producer responsibility models where we can have shared responsibility for products at their useful life. And of course, there's litter control efforts by DOT, corrections, and DEM all across the state, as well as efforts led and organized by all of your organizations as well. One of the things I've had the pleasure to work with Dale on is the Green Hospitality Certification Program. This looks at restaurants and hotels and other hospitality institutions, and looks at things like energy conservation, waste reduction, water reduction, and adopting locally grown and generated food products in the operation. And it provides a recognition for the hospitality companies to really to have a light shine on them for doing these right things. It's a completely voluntary program, and I think it's been pretty successful. We can also build off some awesome green events that occur in Rhode Island. The Volvo Ocean Race is one I already talked about, but CBS also runs a Charity Classic every year, as an example. The Charity Classic is something that is completely plastic-free. No single-use plastics, all the waste is compostable, and they really try and minimize their environmental footprint by the contracting standards that they enact for the vendors that support these particular events. There's a real opportunity to scale that up, including at DEM events. So we're looking forward to leading by example in that as well. There are several, 9, thank you Dave, municipalities that have already enacted bans on single-use plastics in Rhode Island, and there's tons of coastal and river cleanups that go on already. The executive order that has brought us all together was signed by Governor Raimondo in July at Scarborough Beach, and it was really aimed at reducing the use of single-use plastics and keeping them out of our waters and shorelines. Again, it's targeting shopping bags, bottles, cups, and straws, along with items like six-pack rings and balloons that make up the bulk of the litter, the plastic litter that we see too much in our environment. The membership, as you've heard going around the room, is a diverse membership with a lot of great perspectives here, from environmental groups, marinas and other relevant industries, state and local leaders, and a lot of state agencies that you see along the back there. The big thing is going to be collaboration. We've got a lot of great minds, a lot of great experience, and a lot of broad perspectives here. The idea of bringing everybody together to come up with a good agenda for leadership and innovation is exactly what I think we can all get together and produce from this group. DEM, I hope, will be an integral part of supporting the whole effort, and we're really looking forward to making this real. I mean, really, we want something in February and beyond that we can take and implement across the state to start solving this problem. So thank you. Jamie?
So